Double toaster running, 100-watt charger going on the phone with the USB ports. Water's still going, starting to boil. High-powered blender going. Wow, that's impressive. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Check it out. Today we are going to be reviewing the OUKITEL. Wow, this is a heavy beast. It's the OUKITEL portable power station for outdoors. So sit back, relax. We're going to unbox this. We are going to charge it up, see how long it takes to charge. Also try a bunch of appliances: hot water, boiler, toaster, coffee maker, blenders, charging drones, charging batteries, charging phone. We'll go into the specifications. Also going to try to hook up a solar panel to it and see if we can charge this also with solar and see how long it takes. Okay guys, so just starting out here, let's go ahead and check out the specifications. So this is the model P2001. It's a LiFePO4, so the newer battery technology, the lithium phosphate. A little bit heavier. I noticed that this thing is not light. I mean, this is 22 kilograms, so that's around 48, 50 pounds. It seems like a little heavier than lithium, just straight lithium ions, but LiFePO4 is a better battery. It's got a longer life and it's safer. So anyway, this is a 2000 watt hour. Output is 2000 watts total output. It's got an uninterrupted power supply with 1100 watts. AC voltage does 120 volts. DC output, 12 volts, 3 amps. Cigarette, 12 volts, 10 amps. XT60, remember that from RC stuff? 12 volt, 10 amps. USB, it has 5 volt, 2.4. And also a USB QC 3.0 at 18 watts and a Type C at 100 watts max. Gonna give you a lot of power, but it's not super light. They do have different power capacities. So if you wanted one that was a little lighter, you know, 2000 watts is too much for your needs, then you have different options. Go ahead and go to their website. I'll have the links down below, down in the description, and you can check the different options they have. But anyway, top foam is off. Taking this heavy thing, geez, out of the box. Sorry about that, it is not light. And that's everything in the box there. Let's take off this. Let's take a closer look at this thing before we start powering it on and hooking it up and charging it. What is what? User guideline card. It's got a great display, it looks like. Here is our user manual. Goes through kind of everything you need to know here. Looks like this thing has a lot of ports. I'm gonna go ahead and just take off this plastic protection here. Yeah, that's pretty sticky, wow. Hopefully that doesn't leave any residue, but that's pretty on there. That thing off first. Open this up. Oh, neat. Okay, so most of them don't like do this. This is great that they have a little storage box for your wall adapter, lighter adapter for charging, it looks like off of your car. Or, you know, a lot of people are using these for RVs now. And here's the solar panel adapter. Great. I have so many solar panels from different power stations. And most of them do have these kind of generalized solar connectors here. Nothing else in the top box, but it is great that they have that little thing. And it looks like, yeah, it's got a little indent, so it kind of clips in. It's not going to just fly open on its own. Two nice, big, solid looking, kind of anodized aluminum handles here. And let's just kind of spin it around and look at the other parts of it. Overload protection switch here, cooling vents here, 1100 watts supercharge from your AC at home, and then a 500 watt max input at 15 amps from, it looks like, solar panels, or remember this was the other port for the solar panels here, that's the connector. Also from, you know, your car, so you're driving across country, you want to charge it with your cigarette lighter adapter in your car. You can do that while your engine's running. You could put several of those 100-watt solar panels on this thing and all charge them all at once. So pure sine wave AC output at 2000 watts. So we have first of all, we have a little off-on switch. And then we have this door, pull this up here, 6 AC outlets. Wow, that's incredible. That's a lot of AC outlets there. Before we take a look at the front, I just want to take a look at the back here. 2000 watt portable power station. Solar, okay, it does 12 to 48 volts on the solar at 500 watts max. That's what it showed us, remember, on that input. The unit is optimal at 51.2 volts. That's the voltage of the actual unit. So you can use this, like if you have a computer at home or whatever you're doing, you can put this in between the, you know, the wall and your whatever you're trying to run stuff off of, and just have it plugged in all the time. But it looks like it has a little bit of a smaller wattage for that. Anyway, here is the front, guys. So checking this thing out, we've got our DC rail here. There's a little button here. It says DC. We have our lighter adapter and our XT60, 12 volt, 10 amps each. And then these are little DC 12 volt, 3 amp ports here. Over on this side, we've got USB rail. So this guy's saying a bunch of USB ports. So we have 4 regular size USB-A ports. These are 5 volt, 2 amps. Then we have 2 QC 3.0 18 watt. And this is where we get to the high power good stuff, the PD 100 watt USB type C ports. So you're gonna plug in here for your high power charging, right? A lot of the new phones and drone chargers and everything are coming with these high power ports. Could have used this when I was doing a couple of my recent drone reviews, charge the batteries a little bit faster. Then we have a light here you can turn off and on. Let's just go ahead and turn this thing on now. Let's just try to click it once, see what happens. Nothing's happening, so let's try click and hold. And there we go, turning this bad boy on. Cool looking screen here. Let's see if we can zoom in here so you guys can see that. So there's our screen. So it is a LCD kind of monocolor blue, coming at 31% charged for me. So we're gonna have to charge this thing up. I did hear kind of a fan kick on and then it went off, just kind of a boot up. Let's see what happens when we turn on this light. Yeah, so it's just on, kind of SOS. Yeah, that's SOS. And then just flashing constant. As you can see, we've got if we want to use a rail, just like all the other types of power stations too, we have to click on the rails. So the only thing I'm seeing that might be a little bit of a negative thing is there's no AC outlets on the front. But that's okay because remember there are 6 on the side. So not that big of a deal. You can see those 2 big fans here. Let's see what happens when we turn on this AC. Just heard a click. Yeah, so that's gonna be probably drawing a little bit of power just having that inverter on. Anyway, guys, I think that kind of like does it as far as just kind of showing you what this thing's all about. I'm gonna go ahead and put this thing on the charger. We're gonna see how much input we can go. You see when I turned on that inverter, the discharge hours remaining actually started to go down. So let me try to turn off on the right hand side here, that inverter, and then we'll see those crank up. Almost twice as many hours of just sitting here on, having that inverter off. So that inverter just by itself is taking kind of ghost power to have that on. Anyway, guys, let's plug this into the wall, charge it up, and see what kind of amperage we can get in from our wall charging. We'll do that for a little while, and then I want to try to plug in some solar panels. And this is just kind of like that standard, pretty thick power cord that's got like, this would be the one like if you have a tower computer, this is like the same kind of power cord. But this is thick, this is like extra thick. So I'm expecting this to be able to put some darn high power into this thing. Plugging into the wall on one side. Remember the left side is where our power plugs into. To the left side, hearing some clicking, and it's called supercharge. Wow. Let me see if I can take off this It does have a plastic on it. So there's our screen. It's saying it's super charging, and charge time is going to be, it's estimating 73 minutes for this thing to be fully charged. So that's pretty cool. It tells us the input here. It's inputting at 1100 watts. That's great. We'll see how much charge it got after a half hour, and then we'll jump over to some solar charging, and we'll try to see if this thing can actually charge off of like a 100 watt solar panel. Okay guys, so it's been exactly just about a half hour, and you can see here we are at 67% in a half hour of charge. Still have it just kind of plugged into the wall here. So I'm gonna go ahead and unplug this, and let's just see what happens here. So yeah, so it kind of shows you that we're unplugged. We have no more input on the digital display. So basically pretty awesome. I mean, what did we start off at, like 31%, 33 or something? So in a half hour, gosh, we got like 30, a little over 30% of a charge. Alcatel did not send me a solar panel, but I have this e-propulsion solar panel that I got for, I don't know if you've seen my review of my electric boat with my boat motor and everything, but I went ahead and with that whole package, got this solar panel, and it just so happens to have the same connectors that the adapter comes with the Alcatel. So I'm gonna go ahead and set the solar panels outside. I'll take you out there with me, set these up in the sun, and just kind of plug them in to see how much sun charging we can get within maybe I'll set them out there for about an hour. Okay guys, so it's actually, I mean, with these handles on it, like, I'm just talking about the weight of this thing. That's kind of the only negative I've seen so far. When you're holding it with the handles, just having the ability to use two hands with the handles doesn't actually feel that heavy. When it's in the big box and everything, and it has all the peripherals in it, it's a little bit heavier. That awkward, like, box carrying, like no handles and stuff, that's what made it feel really heavy, but doesn't actually feel that bad when you can kind of utilize the handles. So again, just this universal type of connectors that all solar panels kind of come with, not all of them, but these ones came with. And you can't really connect them wrong. There's just basically one way to connect them. You can just put the connectors into the corresponding connectors, only one way. It's just about 12 noon right now, so the sun should just kind of be straight up there. Remember, you want them as perpendicular as possible to where the sun's at. So I think that's going to be pretty good for at least an hour. Got the cable all connected to the solar panels. And remember, the left side on this thing is where the input is. So all we're doing is red to red, black to black. Plugging in for the first time. And it automatically is kicking on, guys. There we go. So we are charging. Really hard to see. Maybe that's a little bit of a con, as this screen is just, it would be better if it was kind of a flat black material. And we're charging at 54 watts, okay? At this rate, the charge time remaining over on the left here, it's saying it's gonna be 13 hours. So I'm just gonna leave it here for an hour. We're at 67%, and let's see how much it charges in an hour, and then we'll bring it back inside, top it off, and then run all those appliances. Okay guys, exactly 1 hour on solar panel at 50 watts. Not seeing the screen on anymore, so it looks like we need to power on, just tap power right there. The power light was still on. And it looks like we're at 70%. So we effectively charged 3% in an hour right at 50 watts. So unless you have like a 100 watt solar panel or more, it's going to take a while to charge this thing. So what an absolute difference, guys. Got it plugged into the wall again, and it's saying it's only going to take 35 minutes to get to 100% from just switch to 71. So huge difference when you have 1100 watts just about going into it from your household outlets. Okay guys, here we go. We are finished with the charging. As you can see, 100% charged. And I just heard it click off. I've been timing it with my watch, and my watch just expired on the timer. So actually it was about 30 seconds ahead of time on its estimated charge time. So that's perfect. I started my watch when it had 34 minutes left. Put a timer on. So effectively, their estimation is exactly correct. So I'm very impressed with that. We're at 100%. Let's go ahead and get this bad boy up here and test out all of these appliances and see what it can handle. All right, guys, so here we go. One of the things I'm very curious about is boiling hot water. So I have about 1 liter of hot water here in just a hot water boiler, electric. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the AC compartment here. We're just gonna plug into one of the ports. We need to turn on the AC button, remember? Let's go ahead and turn this bad boy on just by clicking the switch. Blue lights light up. And let's see if this thing can handle this. Right now, as you can see, it's 874 watts of output it's using, and it thinks it can run at that for 2 hours, okay? So remember, the charging took about 1.5 hours, I wanna say. Probably about 2 hours total if it was kind of empty. Anyway, let's just let that sit there and see if this water boils. We're gonna keep an eye on it here. I just wanna bring this toaster over real quick and maybe try 2 at the same time, right? Just so we can kind of max this thing out and see what happens here. So I'm gonna plug this thing into another outlet there. And this is a double toaster. So I'm gonna go ahead and push down 1. So we jumped from about 865 to 1430, okay, output. That is getting hot there on the toaster. It says it's only gonna run for 69 minutes. Now that's 1426. Let's go ahead and push down the other toaster rail here and see if it pops a fuse or something. Pushing down, and let's see what this thing does. 1989. So we are just under the 2000 watt. So that's unbelievable. You can boil water and have 2 toasters going at the same time. Of course, it's not going to last that long with that much draw, but it says it can go about 48 minutes. At this rate, remember, that's 1981 watts it's pulling out right now. And I'm gonna crank this toaster up to max, so it takes a while. I can hear the water starting to make some noise there. I can see the bubbles on the bottom starting to go. 1974 watts still holding strong. I kind of want to bring this blender front and center here. And let's see if we can run this blender. Let me get some ice in this thing. I want to make a margarita, right? So I think that's about enough ice. Pretending like we're maybe blending a drink, right? So we got ice, cold water in the blender. While all this other stuff's running, I want to plug this in real quick without burning myself. Water's still going, almost boiling. I'm gonna start this toaster again, both sides. 1, 2, boiling, 1984, charging a phone, and let's try this blender real quick, okay? So here we go, start. Whoops, I accidentally pressed the top. There we go, starting on the blender. 2024 watts. Holding strong. Double toaster running. 100 watt charger going on the phone with the USB ports. Water still going, starting to boil. High powered blender going. Wow, that's impressive. There goes the water. Starting to really boil. Very nice. 220 watts. So this is sustaining. Well, there goes the blender. Okay, so the blender, I don't know if it tripped or what, but yeah, we still have power. It didn't trip the circuit on there. I guess the blender just went off automatically. Water stopped because it finished boiling. See, I can turn that off on again and it will keep boiling. Toaster's still going strong on both ports here. There we go, the water finishes and just stops. So that boiled water did 4 pieces of toast, blended my margarita. While it's charging my 100-watt phone, this can take about 75 to 100 watt of charge. This is the new OnePlus 10T phone here. Finally upgraded my OnePlus from the 6. Remember that, guys, on all my drone videos? And there goes one of the toasts just popped up. We're down to 565, 560. This thing can handle over what it's rated. Should be able to only output 2,000 watts. This one over it at a sustained like 220. What I do want to do now, guys, is I'm going to reset all this. I'm going to kick it over to that 2020 watts sustained by doing all this stuff again. And I'm going to brew myself a cup of coffee on this 1 coffee cup Iman's brewer here. So let me get that all set up and then we'll try that and just see if we can possibly trip this load on this thing. Okay guys, here we go. You ready for this? So I'm just gonna put into the mix. My phone was actually fully charged, so I'm gonna charge this Skydio drone. Gonna go ahead and do a K cup of coffee on this Iman's quick coffee maker as well. Definitely going to be putting this thing to the test. Okay, here we go. So I put more ice and water in there, so it has to work. I have emptied out the hot water. This is just room temperature water. 1 liter of that. We're going to do double toast, and let's see how this thing does. So if you do press power on there, it does brighten the screen up. I guess it just goes into a screen dimming and then a screen off after a certain amount of minutes while it's running. So here we go. We got 0 output right now. Let's go ahead and start stuff going. So here is the hot water boiler on. 2 toasters at maximum toast burntness. 1, 2. If you can see here, we're almost at 2,000 already. I'm gonna start this blender now. Woo! There we go. Gonna plug this in to start charging my drone. We're at 208. There we go, we're going up to 2100 with the drone. Now I'm gonna start this coffee. Here we go. Oh, okay, everything just kind of bogged down. So it's limiting the wattage, see that? So with yeah, so it just tripped. Okay, there we go. Beeping, tripping. You go too much over 220 watts. This rail is still working fine, but it looks like it tripped the AC rail, okay? Yeah, so the actual AC light just went off and everything. So I'm gonna turn that back on. There it goes. Just came back on, took like a couple of presses, but I heard it click, come back on. Hot water's back on, toast tripped. I need to finish brewing this cup of coffee here, so let's finish this. Pressing again on the coffee. So you can go a little bit over, guys, but it doesn't like it when you go too much over 2,000 watts. And it only takes about 20 seconds to make the cup of coffee. So you see how that just ended, and then you got your cup of coffee here. Just about 1,000 watts each, it looked like this was taking. So just the coffee maker and that was bringing it up to 2,000 watts, and the drone charging over here. So pretty amazing though. I'm gonna just keep jamming on it. I'm gonna keep doing my toast, keep doing the blender. Let's see if we can get this thing to trip again. Yeah, so that's awesome. I mean, that's all the stuff I want to run. Maybe charge some batteries while we're at it. Yeah, so right at 2,095 watts. Awesome. Stop the blender. Let's stop the toast. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off this hot water heater already. So there you have it, guys. I could do all these things at once, except for use this, you know, super fast coffee brewing system that just put it over the edge. But at least you know that you're gonna get over 2,000 watts, just like maybe a few hundred watts over 2,000 sustained. It will trip, and it looks like it just trips each section as it needs. Remember, there is a main trip circuit right here, so if for some reason it trips the whole thing, at least you can hit that. Maybe that's just for the input charging, I'm not sure. Very impressed by the OUKITEL. I have to say it's one of the best I've used. I like it because once you plug in your input charging on the left, it turns on automatically. I'm also testing the Bluetti, which is just around the 3,000 watt Bluetti, and you plug a power input to charge it, it will not go on. You have to actually turn the unit all the way on, and it has to boot up before it starts charging. But I like it when these guys can sense it's trying to be charged even with that 50 watt solar panel. It kicks the unit on automatically. You don't have to worry about, oh, I forgot to press power when you're camping or something. And then that whole time you were trying to charge it, it wasn't charging. Anyway, very impressed with the OUKITEL, guys. That's my review of it. Don't forget, it also has lights on the front, just in case. Something else I was kind of impressed about was, remember the door on top to store your cables and stuff? Also impressive is these little rubber tabs here. So if you have a cutting board, say you're camping, some kind of cutting board or anything, a table, you can set it on this and it won't slide around. It has these really grippy rubber tabs sticking up on all four corners. So very impressed with this. I would actually honestly recommend this over pretty much anything else I've tested at this point. That's my review. Hope you enjoyed it and it was informative for you. We really did put this thing through the paces. Don't forget, everything I review in my videos is down below, down in the description. It's a link to the OUKITEL and the other gear I use in my videos. So if you like this and you enjoy it as much as I do, you can go ahead and use that link. I think they're actually giving a discount as well. I'll have that discount code on it down in the description so you can actually save if you buy it through me. Cheers, thanks for watching, see you in the next one.